Have you ever wondered what would happen if money suddenly lost its value? What if the money in your pocket today became almost worthless tomorrow? A dollar, a euro, or any currency simply disappearing overnight. We often think of hyperinflation as a problem that happens in distant countries, but in reality, it's not that far away. Germany, Zimbabwe, Venezuela. We've seen the same scenario in all of them. The value of money collapsed, economies crumbled, and millions of lives changed overnight. But the issue isn't just about what happened in history. What truly matters is what comes next. In this video, we'll talk about how hyperinflation developed throughout history, how it caused devastating consequences, and most importantly, what lessons we should learn from it. Because hyperinflation is something that can develop much faster than we think, and unfortunately, many countries have been caught unprepared. Hyperinflation is not just about rising prices, it's the complete loss of trust in a country's currency. Money becomes so quickly devalued that the cash in your hands turns into nothing more than pieces of paper. Prices skyrocket, savings vanish, and entire economies begin to collapse. It has happened repeatedly throughout history, and every time the reason was the same: countries running on debt printed more and more money to close their deficits, and eventually their currency lost its value. One of the first major modern examples was Germany after World War I. The country was crushed under the weight of the war. The reparations demanded were far more than it could ever pay. The government saw printing money as the only solution. At first it seemed to work, but soon the value of the currency fell in a way they had never expected. By 1923, things had completely spiraled out of control. A loaf of bread cost 200 billion marks. People had to use wheelbarrows to carry their money. Retirees watched a lifetime of savings disappear overnight. Why did it happen? Because there was no real value left behind the money being printed. In other words, money existed, but trust did not. Money had turned into worthless pieces of paper. In that period, only those who held gold, land, or assets with real value were able to protect themselves. When we look at Zimbabwe in the 2000s, history was repeating itself. The country was already in crisis, but when the government began printing money to cover its budget deficit, the economy completely collapsed. By 2007, inflation had reached 231 million%. Yes, it sounds unbelievable, but it's true. Prices doubled every 24 hours. The Zimbabwean dollar was practically worthless. People had to spend billions just to buy a loaf of bread. In the end, the country completely abandoned its own currency, and everyone switched to US dollars or South African rand. Then came Venezuela in the 2010s. Once a wealthy country thanks to its oil, it fell into economic ruin due to mismanagement and falling oil prices. The government made the same mistake again: printing money. In 2018, inflation reached 1 million%. Stores were emptied. People couldn't even find basic necessities. Money became so worthless that people turned to foreign currencies or bartering. Millions had to leave their country. All of these examples tell us the same thing. Hyperinflation doesn't just destroy money, it destroys people's lives, hopes, and futures. Savings disappear, salaries lose their value, the country becomes unstable, and millions flee elsewhere. So what should we learn from all this? First, diversifying assets is important. History shows us this. Gold, real estate, foreign currency, anything with real value helps people stay strong during crises. Another lesson is this: the value of a currency depends on the trust people place in it. Printing money is easy, but losing trust is even easier, and regaining it is almost impossible. Even though hyperinflation may seem like a distant possibility, rising national debts, political uncertainty, and constant money printing policies show that the risk exists in every country. History keeps warning us if we don't learn from past mistakes, we will experience the same things again. So the final question is, if a similar crisis knocks on your door one day, will you be prepared? Or will you have to watch your wealth slowly disappear like so many others?